Hi, and welcome to How Was the Gig, where Andy and I talk about the latest gig we've been to. I wouldn't say we review the gig, but we do unpack the gig. We do have opinions. Where did we go this time, Andy?
Cash Savage and the Last Drinks at Frankston, the free one. A free festival for this Christmas tree lighting festival that they have there. And they had a few bands. I got there early and there was no one there at the stage. It was just like 5 people maybe for the first act. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. But when Cash Savage and the Last Drinks came on, it was packed. It was pretty packed. There was a good turnout. But but saying that, when she was setting up on stage, you could still walk up to the front. Do you know what I mean?
Plenty of room up the front. It was their first time playing Frankston. And as they mentioned, we've played everywhere. Don't know why it's taken us so long to play Frankston. And I got to admit, Cash Savage is one of my favorite live bands, one of my favorite bands in general. And I've probably seen it live over the years, maybe 5 or 6 times. So I was pretty excited that they were coming to Frankston and that the Frankston crowd were going to get to know Cash Savage and the Last Drinks. But I did feel like I've got to wear my Cash Savage t-shirt. I got to show some support because, and I know some people say, nah, it's a little bit off-putting. It's not cool. It's not very cool if you wear the band t-shirt at the band. I don't know who makes these rules. It's okay if you wear someone else's band t-shirt, but not the band on the night. And so I made the decision to wear Cash Savage t-shirt because I was like, I'm just not sure there's going to be many Cash Savage fans up there in Frankston. And I think it worked out well.
I know, man. You got a shout out from Cash Savage herself. Wow, well done.
I guess I got her a t-shirt with her face on it. So I guess it got her attention. And thanks for capturing that by fluke on video. Here it is.
I haven't seen one of them in ages. It's good to see you again. I thought you were going to say because it's your fucking face. I'm like, it is my fucking face. I do like it for that reason.
It was quite good because the crowd, there were a few of us standing around as they're setting up, and having the t-shirt on meant someone else walked up to me and said, do you think there are many Cash Savage fans here? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But all of a sudden we find another Cash Savage fan and we stuck together. So I was like, cool, there's a few of us here. I think a few of us were feeling like, don't know if there's going to be many Cash Savage fans, and we love Cash. So we want to make sure they're all here.
Yeah, no, there was a few people there who seemed to be Cash Savage fans, but it was quite empty at the beginning when they first came out. Like, people had to kind of walk forward a little bit to just fill up a bit of space. But then, I mean, by the end, it was pretty crowded. But I thought there'd be a lot of people at the beginning because they advertised this concert quite heavily along all the train stations. It's not the greatest place to advertise, but
I think it was just on the Frankston line, though. I didn't really see it on my train line going into the city.
yeah, it was on the Frankston line. Yeah, all the train stations had this big billboard, live, whatever, and it came up on my Facebook feed. But I mean, that's kind of targeted towards me, I guess.
It was part of Always Live, the Victorian government's live music initiative for local bands, which has been great.
It's my third time seeing Cass Savage, and I'm a big fan. She's very much gets up there and performs from the heart. Is pretty much how you describe her, yeah.
Yeah, it's that weird thing with the performance. You know it when you see it, when a performer is being really vulnerable and really honest and really transparent, I guess. I'm always looking for that with a live performance. I don't care so much about the music I listen to at home. This is why this podcast is about live music and not just albums and things. I'm always looking for that live performer who is letting go and being available to the audience. And there are a few performers that come to mind for that. I won't mention Nick Cave, but Cash Savage is one of them.
You just said Nick Cave. I knew you were going to say Nick Cave.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would say out of everyone we've seen this year, it'd be Cash Savage would probably be the best would probably be the from the heart performer.
From the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she writes the music, so it's very personal to her. And she's not doing meme songs like Play Lunch. She's doing really, stuff that means something.
Yeah, I hate calling things brave or gritty, but she tackles some big issues that are close to her heart and that resonate with people. When she tackles grief, she tackles mental health, she tackles, capitalism. She doesn't shy away from her political beliefs.
Well, let's quickly mention The Last Drinks, which is her band. But they are their own band themselves, but they've got a lot of depth to them. I love the fact they've got a violinist, and then of course they've got the 3 guitarists, keyboard player as well. There's just a lot of depth to their sound that they can bring out,
And they all rock out, including the violinist.
They do, yeah, absolutely. The 2 guitars either side are just amazing. They are just fully immersed into the music.
And they also have the energy. I just want to see people rock out to their own music sometimes. Yeah. They look like they're having a blast on stage. And if they're having a blast, we have a blast. That's that enigmatic thing about a live performance and that audience transaction.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe getting back to some of the themes Cash Savage has tackled. Her song Push is a really powerful song that tackles mental health. And lately it's my favorite song she does live. It's intense. She leaves it all out there. The lyric that is, I'm not feeling too hot today, that repeats and builds and gets more intense each time. And lately that's one of my favorite songs live. She does an amazing job at that. And Run with Dogs, I think, was her big kind of breakout hit. You always talk about that one song, Andy. They always need that one song.
Yeah.
Run with Dogs was a big song for her when it came out, I think in 2018, 2017, 2018, something like that. That was the first time I heard of Cash Savage and the Last Strings. Someone recommended them to me. And that's the song that got me hooked. And in this live show in Frankston, she decided to explain that song and why she wrote it. But before she went into detail, she explained that she doesn't usually talk about what her songs are about because she wants them to be a personal, whoever's listening can attach their own story to the song. And so she doesn't want to take that away from the person listening to it. But then she went on to explain that, she heard someone explain the meaning behind their song and how it meant a lot to her to hear the writer talk about their song. And that's when she decided that she'll explain the meaning behind Run with Dogs and that it's about grief. And for me, being able to hear the songwriter explain what the song was about just gave it more gravity. I know it's like, songs are whatever you want them to be. And, I don't want to lock someone into believing a song is about something because that's how I wrote it. But it really gave it more meaning for me. It's kind of how I felt about the song anyway. So now I feel like, yeah, I got it. I just felt like a bit more of a connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always a major moment in her live performance when she sings Run with Dogs. It's usually the last song, or kind of often is the last song. This time it was played in the middle. I liked it. Also, Frankston this show was just banger after banger. It was huge.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was my favorite show that I've seen her in, actually. I like the fact that it was outdoors and it was a really nice night. Like it'd been raining all day, but it all cleared up by then. And it was just a great show, really. I love how Cash Savage, this is my little pet, like I heard, she goes up to the musicians while they're playing and she might put her hand on their chest or something, or put her head on there and just listen to the guitar or something like that, and walks around or gives them a hug while they're playing or something in the down times when she's not singing. It's great to see a performer do that, to walk around, and there's the big hugs afterwards after they finish.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, when we see the band connect with each other, it heightens our connection with the band. I guess it just makes it feel more real or something. You know what I like, speaking about outdoor events, and this was an all ages event, which we hardly ever get to see because so many venues in Melbourne are restricted. But there were, I guess, Frankston Festival is kind of family event, family fun. There was so much space in the front row, and there were these little kids, I'd say like 4 or 5 years old, dancing away. And I thought that was really cute. That's not something we usually see in a show. And
Yeah,
then
absolutely. Yeah.
I was in the front, but there was plenty of room in front of me, and I noticed someone dancing behind me, and I turned around to them. And, I talk about this feeling a bit too tall at venues, and it was someone shorter than me. And I said, "Oh, do you want to step in front? Do you want to get in the front?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, do you mind?" I'm like, No, go ahead. And she went in the front and she turned around to me. I'm talking like a foot shorter, maybe a foot and a half. And she turned around to me and she said, "Can you see okay?" And I looked at her and we both laughed, and she went, "Oh, yeah, okay, you can see it."
Yeah, it was a nicely spaced crowd. You know what? We're not on each other's shoulders. You could actually go right up to the barrier, no problems. People
Yeah.
didn't really want to be that close. So
I did turn around to see, how many people are here? Are they fans? I turned around and I could see it was pretty packed, but a few people just singing those lyrics, knowing every word.
So, what was your favorite song that you did at the gig?
Push. Yeah, like I said before, the song Push, because of the intensity that builds. Run with Dogs is always a highlight. It has so many good lines in it, like the line "traveling's for the rich, but wandering's for the brave," which I always sing on the top of my lungs and ruin every video I've ever taken of that. um, I would have to say my next fave also happens to be our new intro music, Rat-a-tat-tat. That's one of my favorite live songs. It's really intense from the first note. It's all the band members singing in unison. It's got this thumping bass line, which kind of aligns with the line that they sing. The line is, "It's the thumping of my heart." Yeah, it's a good one live. What was yours?
I've always liked Is It Better Than That?
Better than that.
Yeah, I always liked that song, but I did think that the her big one, Run with Dogs, I think that was the best I've seen her perform.
Wow,
I think
big
they had a lot of
call.
space. I mean, the last time we saw her was in Brunswick, yeah. That was so packed on that
Oh, the
stage.
tote.
There was just no
Yeah.
space for anything, yeah. But this one, everyone could swing a cat if they
Mm.
wanted to. So yeah. And it's funny, she mentioned that she got to Frankston early and she was watching a movie, yeah. So she's been there for a few hours
Oh,
walking
yeah, she
around.
mentioned they got to Frankston. They were like, "This is never going to go ahead," because the rain was so bad. So they all went and watched Gladiator 2. Which,
Yeah.
interestingly, she said, which is a terrible movie but a good movie. I felt like, oh, Cash, you're allowed to watch Gladiator 2. Like, we don't mind if you're, into your mainstream films. But I'm trying to remember the song where she talks about where she yells out "rich white men." The title is "Pack Animals." It talks about that corporate machine and the privilege, and your job is just to feed this machine for rich white men to get even richer. And it all kind of crescendos and comes to a head with the really pointed lyrics, "rich white men," which she didn't say this time. She used different lyrics instead of "rich white men." And she kind of had a little preamble before, and it was "Free Palestine" instead. It's a funny thing when, like, she's my favorite band. We have similar political leanings. I have no problem with her political views, but I wasn't sure how Frankston was going to feel about it. And I don't even know why I care. I do appreciate a band who stands by, I guess, their political leanings and believe in what they say.
Yeah.
But then I'm always like, but what if they start saying stuff that you don't agree with? Then how would I feel? It's kind of like, well, sure, it's all right if I'm kind of like, it's something I believe in.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit when she got into the Free Palestine bit, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting because it's a government gig, yeah." And I'm
Oh, yeah.
like, "This is kind of going into a different realm." And I know the lead guitarist, he wears a jacket that says Free Palestine
Yeah.
as well. And there's the whole "we're on stolen land" thing that she goes into at the beginning.
Yeah.
That, and I've said before, I've said it to you off camera, it's a little bit jarring sometimes. Like, oh my God, we're on stolen land. Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, I know, and I get it. But I think it's just an acknowledgement of the truth and a reminder that we are here enjoying this moment on this land. It's just acknowledging that.
So yeah, look, I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all.
You know how I came across Cash Savage to begin with? Her uncle is Conway Savage, the keyboardist, piano, organ player from the Bad Seeds. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was kind of thinking to myself, well, that doesn't mean I'd like her. Fucking love Cash Savage and the Last Drinks. As soon as I played it, I was like, oh, yeah, this is my music. There's got to be some crossover between Nick Cave and Cash Savage fans, surely. So, yeah, she comes from a musical family. Her uncle was in the Bad Seeds. And I often wonder how much influence that had. Like, we got there, this outdoor event. Frankston kind of has this reputation of being Bougainville, but there were some really cool people there. And what I mean by cool is people who knew who Cash Savage was and were talking to me about music festivals they had seen the other bands. So I'm like, okay, it's not some cultural vacuum here in Frankston. And
Yeah, no, that's it. It was good. Yeah. It was a great vibe.
it was nice to see people walking past as part of the festival, coming out of Betty Burgers, going, what is this band? Why is everyone gathered around, standing on the streets, looking over, being like, hey, this sounds cool.
Yeah, look, I mean, I keep pushing my daughter trying to get into Australian bands. She's always into the popular stuff over the American crap, yeah? And it's
Right.
annoying because we have all the music you need here,
So
you know,
much.
amongst the local bands, and you can see them and you can see them up close.
And you can pay a lot less.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like SZA and Tyler, the Creator, all these people, I don't know, I just don't think they're that outstandingly good compared to what you can get locally anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's frustrating. When I said to Gwen, because she was walking around the festival doing rides and stuff, I said, you're going to come down and see the band.
How
And
old's Gwen?
So Gwen's 10. And she's like, what band? You said Cash Savage. And she's like, Cash Savage is here? She didn't understand that, it's a local band and they're Australian, because she knows I play that song better than that in the car a lot. So she knows, she sings along to that one. So she knows it. And I was hoping she'd come down, but I mean, she got distracted, I guess. And didn't come down, but she was just so surprised that she could actually just walk down and see her on stage, even though she missed it.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that you don't have to go to these massive concerts that are promoted a lot more heavily with these big international acts. If you tap into your local band scene, you're seeing people way more often and you're developing that a bit more of a connection with them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I think. I really feel that there's so much good stuff out there. You don't need to go and follow these international acts all the time. It's just not worth it. There's no value for money. Pearl Jam, no value for money seeing them live. Listen to them, sure, on Spotify, but it's just like such a rip-off.
Some we've seen recently that have blown us away. Haiku Hands, Play Lunch, Cash Savage. These are all local Aussie gigs. We saw the presets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw Sunshine K and the Disco Faith Band or something like that. That was awesome. They were crazy, man. And the Floodlights. We've seen the Floodlights up close a lot,
the Floodlights, of course, and Amel and the Sniffers.
Yeah. I mean, that she's moved over to the other side now. She's a big act. She'll be my music bowl next time, and I don't know if you can do punk rock on a big stage like that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
I just think it's small venue, kind of like crowd surfing and getting close enough to the audience.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't imagine seeing punk rock from a distance.
Yeah, it would just be weird, yeah.
Like on the lawn at my music bowl. Yeah, it just wouldn't. I need to be in a crowd for that.
Yeah, you got to get the sweat and the smell. You don't get that. Like, you just see, like, is someone in a bikini on the stage? That's all I can see from here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You lose it. Yeah.
I feel like when I first saw Cash Savage at the Corner Hotel, probably 2018, 2019, it was everything I wanted in a live band because she's so in your face. And there was a kind of aggressiveness to her performance, a kind of like unapologetic and this is who I am. And then but I feel like after her latest album, So This Is Love, came out and she had toured France, they came back from touring Europe, and their performance had kind of elevated. And I think when you pour your heart out, and it was such a big album for them, it was so critically acclaimed and we loved the album and it was so well received. And then when she toured with that album, I felt like, I don't know, but I felt like it was a better relationship with the audience.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay. Yeah. She's a big presence on stage for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's like, she dominates as the lead singer in a band, even though it's kind of like And the Last Drinks that she puts on. Maybe that's a Nick Cave influence. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Cash Savage. And we should mention that we saw her doing a solo show as well, which was just her with a guitar and a special guest that came on. Did she have a drummer then? But it was a lot different vibe, a lot more intimate. But that's another gig to maybe talk about. But it was good. I enjoyed the solo show, but it's nothing like having the full band behind her for sure.
So the solo show was absolutely beautiful. You could hear a pin drop though. And I don't know if I'd see a solo show again, but I would if you go.
I hope she plays Frankston again at the Pier. Yeah?
Yes, they should.
That's a great venue. It's a good sized venue for her to fill up because she does a lot of small venues, but she did the Queenscliff Festival recently, which was a big crowd there. So I just think that's a great size for her and the Last Drinks. I just think it'd be a great venue. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure, if there's the crowd to fill up that venue. After seeing Play Lunch at the smaller venue in the Pier Hotel.
Yeah, but Play Lunch have only released one album.
That's true.
So they haven't had the time to build that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see. Management put her on at the Pier.
Yeah, I wonder if she needs to release a new album though. If she releases a new album and doesn't play the Pier on that tour, I'd be really upset. I'll message her personally.
Yeah, that's funny, yeah. All right, we better wrap it up. You got to go.
Let's do it. Okay, thanks. Catch you later. Bye.
See ya.